We're back at the 1999 LS400. What we're doing today is working on getting the transmission pan off. A couple of issues is you see these 8mm bolts here, which hold the pan on. A couple of them, actually 4 of them, are obstructed by this bracket here. And so in order to solve the bracket problem, it looks like much like I did on the LS430. These are 14mm here. Hit them with some PB Blaster, my favorite, every mechanic's favorite. This is not a very rusty car, so it's not a big deal. And then this is 14mm. Put a wrench on the other side to hold it, and it came off real easy. And the idea is to loosen this, take out this. There's 2 here. I've already taken one out. Here, oh man, my nose is itching. Don't you hate that? But we'll take out this bolt, and then anybody who's a backyard mechanic, you know, sort of like me, just doing their thing, and see how it goes out of the way. Now it's out of the way, we're good. There does not appear to be a gasket. And then I broke each one of these 8mm nuts bolts free with this, using hand tools. And the reason I do that, it's simple. I don't want to use a power tool. Discover that after being connected to the underside of this car for 25 years, that I strip a bolt. That would really suck. Now I've already drained the fluid out. And as usual, I measure it. It's 2.5 quarts, 2.5 liters. I let it drain overnight. That's the beauty of having a lift. I can just work on it, abandon the project. So I will take this pan off. I will collect any fluid in this pan and then pour it into the container, and then measure it so when I reinstall it, refill it, I've got a rough approximation. I'll be back. All right, the next challenge was getting this old RTV separated, and it was a challenge because you can't really get any access points that are easy. So what did I do? Probably I'm a little unwise. I took this putty knife and initially broke it, going right along this edge here, so that way I wasn't penetrating the inside of the transmission. I was keeping it flat, and got about to here when the handle started to interfere with the transmission dipstick tube. And then I took my plastic body panel pieces and once again sliding right down along that edge, pounded this thing in and broke it free. Well, of course, RTV that is this old, well, I think RTV is tough anyway. So then what I did is I took my angled panel pieces and drove it in sideways and just started to slowly break it. Did the same thing everywhere here, and finally it just popped. Boy, was that a satisfying pop. The next issue is going to be the dipstick tube, which goes up to a junction, and it's really hard to photograph. But a lot of people will disconnect it from up above and pull the whole thing out. It appears to be 2 pieces, and I'll try to show that later. And I've been collecting all the fluid to keep my count good in terms of volume. We'll go from there. I'll be back. I got the pan off. I've been told there are 4 magnets, there are actually only 3. And they're a little goopy, as you can see, which is to be expected after 25 years. I haven't cleaned out the pan, obviously. That'll be easy enough to do. You've seen pan magnets clean before. There isn't a lot of material on it. This is the tube that you hear about that actually goes up to a second tube where the dipstick for the transmission is located. I decided not to pull it up from the top. I pulled it out from the bottom. But there is, and I can't show you this, there is, when you touch the remaining tube in the car, there's this little O-ring, and it fits around the piece about this size. It'll be a pain to get on and off, but I'll get it done. And that's what provides the seal between the upper tube and this lower tube. You can see how it goes in the hole. That seemed like a good idea to replace it after 25 years. Now we have the filter, which I have right over here. Let me get some more lights on so that people aren't saying, I can't see anything. I love grabbing tools with my little magnetic catch. So, we're now looking at, let me turn some more lights on so you can see what's going on. It doesn't do any good to do a video when people can't see what's going on. And I obviously don't have anybody here to do the lights for me. So this is the screener or filter. And here it is. Purchased from Lexus. Expensive. Oh God, everything's expensive. And it has 3 bolts. 1, 2, which I've taken out, and the third and final one. They're all 8 millimeters. I will have the torque specs in the description. I think it's like 60 or 70 inch-pounds. Don't quote me on that. Now what's interesting is normally you get about 1.7 liters if you just drain it out of the pan like you're doing an oil change. Well, I collected all of the fluid that was leaking out of the filter and the transmission overnight, and guess what I got? I got a little more than like 3.6, 3¼ quarts, and here we got a little shy of 3.5 liters of fluid. So almost double the amount of fluid is obtained by dropping the pan and potentially dropping the filter. So I didn't know that. Everybody says, oh, it's the same, and I used to think the same thing, but that's not the way it is. Now, I'll be back. All right, here's the filter that came out. It actually looks pretty good. There are some superficial schmutz over it, but nothing tremendous. I really can't see inside and see if there's a filter element. I assume it's just a screen because that's what it's described as, a screen. Did it need to be changed? You know, car's 25 years old. I sort of see life as a series of choices. I can either change it and then a year later have a transmission failure and somebody will say, hey, did you change the screen? No, why not? Oh, I didn't think it was necessary. It did get more fluid out. That's one of the positives. So I thought I'd let you know. I was mistaken. There's actually 4 bolts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Close. I'll be back. All right, I did use the official Toyota Lexus Seal Packing 103 form-in-place gasket. And this was a little tough, to say the least. This tube here, which anybody who has an LS400 will know about. Let's see if I can actually show you where it goes. Hopefully you can see how it heads straight up. And I'll try to get the light so that it doesn't kill us all. There we go. And it goes straight up there. Now it separates up there. I can see it myself. It's probably about another 3 or 4 inches up there. It separates, it pulls apart. So I did not have to take the assembly off of the upper part of the engine. I simply removed all these bolts after emptying the pan and then gently pulled the whole pan down, and this slid off the tube up above. I did replace the seal on the upper tube, which is pretty easy to do. And then when I replaced the pan, I had some help. I had a friend. I was guiding the tip of this tube onto the other tube. And once it got secured on that tube, we then pushed the whole pan straight up so that we got the gasket maker to do its thing correctly. Push it up, and I think this was 65 inch-pounds. Yes. This pink here is actually the old gasket maker. Yeah, didn't do as good a job cleaning on the outside as I should have. And then we did an asymmetric tightening pattern, which is normal for anything like this, although Toyota doesn't have one in particular. My friend, who's a professional mechanic, quite good I might say, was here actually when we did this. So even though Toyota says on the instructions on this that you should allow 30 to 60 minutes before driving, well, I had the advantage of a lift, so I have left it empty for probably 14, 15 hours. So we'll get there. I am now tightening. Let me get this light out of the way. I'm tightening up the support bracket. I took this bolt out, took these two bolts out, loosened this and let it swing down. So I'm going to retighten all that. I've tightened this to, I think, 15 foot-pounds with a new crushable washer gasket, which is all good. Oh, you can see the new gasket maker in there. It's not pink, it's black. I was very disappointed. So it looks good. What I'll do is I'll tighten all of this up and then lower it down. It emptied about 4 quarts of the ATF4, and I'll go from there. The transmission dipstick, which we discussed before. What I'm going to try to do is, you can see there's an area that says hot, and then there's an area that says C for cold. That's the C for cold. So the plan is I know it takes about 4 quarts of type 4 ATF. I have the funnel going down into the fill tube right there, dipstick tube. You can see it right there. And I will pour 3.5, a little shy of 4 quarts. I will run it through all the gears and then proceed to let it get cold. I could do it hot, but I have some friends coming over who want to change the oil in their cars, and that's fine with me. So I just need to get this thing off the lift. But I suspect it's going to go well. I love you all. Peace out. If I can get this thing to go off. There we go. I hope you can see that the ATF4 is, oh man, is halfway up the cold. The 2 spaces between the 2 lines where the letter C is, or Charlie, that's perfect. Car's cold. I've run it through the transmission for about 10 seconds in each position, going down, going up, going down, going up. Looks good. What I'll do next, since I'm a do-it-yourselfer, is I will drive it around and see what it does when it gets into the hot zone. So I love you all. I hope this has helped. There'll be a description in the video about the torque specs, etc. Hope this helps somebody with a LS400. This has the 5-speed transmission. It's the, I think, 2nd gen. Lovely car. Boy, is that engine smooth. The 1UZ FE, and it's got the VVTi, which I think was something that was the 2nd generation or 2nd revision of the LS400. Love y'all. Peace out.